Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle, Desrochers, and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey. Probably going on 4 years now. So thank you, Folgers. Amelia and I love you. We appreciate you so very much. Also, big thank you to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, for his contribution of his voice and his music for the intro and outro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos here at the Outer Realm. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. He also is, I guess he specializes in the horror genre, but can pretty much put anything together for you. So again, check him out. So tonight, as you can see, I am minus my bubbly little compadre. Amelia is still down for the count, sends her love, and hopefully she will be back with us next week. But the show must go on, so we are welcoming back our dear friends, host of Nocturnal Frequency Radio. You would have seen us on there, and you would have seen the guys on here before. And we're going to be gearing up for a night of paranormal discussions with a few shenanigans along the way. So welcoming to the show. Hello, guys.
Shenanigans? I don't know what you mean by that.
Shenanigans? What are those?
You guys are darn or shenanigans.
Are those like those little sparkly people in the forest or something?
Sure.
That's what I was going to say. Little trolls, right?
Yeah.
Trolls.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or no, puckwudgies.
Oh, puckwudgies.
Oh, come on. Don't get me started. You know I like to say that word.
That's why we're saying it.
Puckwudgies.
I know. It's just a ridiculous word.
I know.
It's
I know.
just, it's kind of like moped.
Attention.
Moped's another silly word.
The first time hearing it, you're how do you say that word? Puckwudgie?
I'll be honest, the first time I heard this word, I thought it was like a swear word or something naughty.
Well, what exactly is a puckwudgie? We had somebody on the show one time who said that they researched it out near like Maryland, Massachusetts way.
What, Chris? You're talking about Christopher Balzano?
No.
No. Wow.
No. This was like 2 years ago, and when he came out and said puckwudgie, I'm like, oh no, you have to say that again. What did you just say? All night I kept saying it. I couldn't help it.
See, they are magical little creatures.
They are, yeah.
Magical little people in the forest of the Algonquin folklore.
Algonquin folklore. I thought it was the Appalachians.
Let's see. Well, yeah. I mean, what's along the coast? Isn't it the Appalachians that go down along
Appalachians? Yeah, coast? But there's this. There's this imaginary the Bridgewater Triangle.
Yes, that's right.
Where these particular creatures, if you will, have been
Right.
spotted as far back as, natives, Native Americans, Indians have. They're the ones that coined these, the Pukwudgie. In fact, as far as I know, they coined the terminology. They're evil little trolls,
I'm not
vicious,
big on trolls.
vicious.
Yeah. Trolls and gnomes. I really don't like gnomes. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not a fan of gnomes at all. So they're just mischievous. Have you guys ever seen the video? I think it came out of Argentina or Chile.
Mhm.
And it was filmed by the police in that area, and they saw this. They were zooming in, like, what is that? And they zoom in, and they're speaking, of course, in like Latin American, and they had, like, it was a freaking gnome, and it was sidestepping across the street. That was it for me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, no, no. Like, you hear about it all the time, but more so in Scandinavian countries. And this freaking thing was just popping across the road in a sidestep with a stupid little gnome hat on. I'm not even freaking kidding. And it's just like, oh my God, they're my part of it, like my side of the planet. This is not good.
I do remember seeing a video a long time ago.
Right.
And I'm not sure if it's the same one as you had seen, but these kids are playing outside this. I don't know. And it's at night and dimly lit, and they're going. All of a sudden, they look and they see this, like, it looks like a little gnome walking, with a little hat.
Yeah, I was doing one of these, like, just
Yeah,
across the street.
yeah, and they're like taking off, frightened.
Yeah,
It looked so realistic, and I mean, let's face it, there are little people out there.
there are.
Was that? I don't know, but it was, it was pretty convincing.
Apparently, it's big money. There are people who actually will, like, dress up, and you can hire them to be your garden gnomes. And apparently, they get paid really well.
Yeah.
How much do they cost?
Why, you want the job? You want a job?
Here's a job.
Oh, come on.
I want to hire one.
You want to hire one?
Yeah.
You can, apparently, and they make really big money to be like a garden gnome. I don't know exactly what they do, but
I just want them to scare the crap out of some neighbors. That's all.
You have to look like a darn gnome. I know a person, maybe two, that look like gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, no. One used to fancy taking pictures of himself, sending it to me. Not those kind of pictures, just really like a gnome, because I hate them that much. I was just like, wow, that's great. And I don't know why. They're wiggy little things, and I'm just, hate's a strong word, but but yeah, let's just say I would not want to share space. When the girls and I were in Romania, they thought it would be comical because in Romania, it must have been Year of the Gnome, because there were freaking gnome statues everywhere we went. So I thought it would be funny because we stayed in this villa near Bran Castle, and they would line up these gnomes outside my door, because I would open it. Can you come out? This big wraparound, porch sort of thing, like it's just beautiful. And I opened the door, like down, and like, somebody's gonna die today. But he really has a death wish. So it's 2 stories down. So anyway, yeah, that's my gnome story. Anyway, do you think we have anything like that? Not necessarily gnomes, but little people in and around, like, let's say, Southern Ontario area, our area, because a lot of people have sent me over the years pictures of like little fairy people.
Mm-hmm.
And Burlington was supposed to have fairy people.
Yeah, Burlington has
no comment.
has quite a lot of interesting people. Yes, no. You never know. There's just so many intriguing little things that happen, and you go, oh, wait a sec, that has to be a first for this area, you
Right.
know. But
Right.
it seems to be this particular area anyway seems to be like a hub for, UFO activity. And
We do UFO Lookout. It was like
yeah,
literally one street over from where
yeah,
I was. I was in West Burlington.
yeah. Um, you have up by what is it? Mount Nemo. You have the what we call the Devil's Mound,
Yes.
and it's really weird because you have these trees. Alex has seen it. You have the trees that go around this rim. It's a rocked rim. It's really odd, and the trees grow inwards towards the
Right.
middle. Have you ever seen it, Michelle?
I've not been there, and I
Oh
don't know how I
wow!
did not know about this.
Yeah, it's pretty intriguing, man. It's
So what's the story with it? Like, is it a
it's
native Canadian thing?
I'd
Is it
like to
a
I'd like to think it is, but there's not really a lot. I cannot find a lot other that a lot of people seem to think it is a part of the quarry that was there when they were drudging the rock for
like
the
that's where
sea.
the escarpment is all up
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
area, right? With
where
those
they had
big
the
giant turkey vultures
oh yeah,
swoop down
huge, huge,
and yeah.
and where they were dredging the rock for the CN Tower to make the cement for the CN
I
Tower.
keep forgetting that
Yeah,
came from there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is actually a part of that. I don't know. It's
Are there any
way
stories affiliated with it?
I don't see anything at all other than I remember reading an article a while ago, and I can't remember. It was a news clip, and I wish I kept it. Something about up in that area, and this was from the 70s about some satanic activity,
There
or
would be in the 70s.
yeah, a
A
group,
movement.
yeah, a group up there, and they were congregating in that area. So I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
maybe this you put these two together, and perhaps they may be connected, but it's
Just an
hard to find
interesting
anything.
tag name, you know?
Yeah,
So,
very
and we used to have a lot of buffalo that used to run wild up there too at one time, didn't we? Bison.
long time ago. Yes,
Yeah. Well, I
long.
mean, 30 years ago they were
Mhm.
up there
Yeah,
because, I remember being up there and seeing it, but apparently I missed this little tidbit of a location.
it's an interesting little place.
It's just an excuse for you to go back to Burlington.
I know.
Yeah.
Burlington keeps calling for me. Mind you, they're decimating my old property right now. They're just widening the road, and
Oh wow.
I had this like probably 400-foot hedge
Mhm.
that was mature and like probably 25 feet tall, and apparently now it looks like it might be about 30 feet. So yeah, it's very sad to see it, but um, there's a lot of activity in that area, and I think a lot of it tends to go unnoticed.
Mhm.
But you were talking, well, we were talking before the show about haunted or just farm properties on average.
Mhm.
Are we talking about haunted properties or just average of just farm
Just
properties?
haunted farm, abandoned farm. Yeah, because
Well,
a
why
lot of
farms specifically, though, Steve?
well, I guess more of them are popping up now because of
Okay.
encroachment,
Mm,
construction and all that kind of
sure.
wonderful stuff.
Surveys.
Farmland is dying, at least in
Yeah.
this direct area. So
Right.
you're starting to see a lot of abandoned farmhouses in this area, just north of here.
Mhm.
And for the longest time, I was doing research. We were doing research at one particular one, just up Tremaine.
Right.
And you're familiar with Tremaine, right?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing some back research and everything else, and finding out that the house um, had two suicides.
Ah.
And one of them, two of them, both females, and one, they were not together. They were at separate times in the
Mm,
house's history.
wow.
And the last one was, I believe, in the 90s, the late 90s. And I don't think they ever used the house after that. incident. I think it's been abandoned since the late 90s, I believe.
So that's crazy. 2 suicides, 2 different time periods.
Yeah, one was the first one was from the TV antenna, which still is there, and I believe that was from the sometime in the 80s, the early to mid
Wow.
80s.
So relatively recent on the grand scheme of things.
Yes, and the last one happened in the animal barn, which is still there. In fact, when you walk into the barn, you can still see the police tape.
Oh,
Yes,
come on.
some of the police tape is still dangling.
So was this from like the same family, just different times, or were these just different?
No, I believe
Wow.
because what happened was is it CN or CP Rail, one of the two, bought the properties, bought a whole whack load of land up there, and they were sitting on it relatively because they figured, okay, well, this is probably going to get us some money later on down the road
Right.
for development or whatever else. So the existing houses, they leased the houses out to people who would want to lease them for the time being. And that's what I believe the last family that was in there, they're leasing the house.
Wow.
And I don't think it was a very long time that they were leasing it.
A scenario where one influenced the other.
Yeah.
See, that I was going to ask you, do you think that, I mean, first off, let's face it, I truly believe that when the essence leaves the body, it leaves a really powerful imprint, because throughout my years of researching, just even a natural death, you know, it's a pretty powerful release. So you end up having this imprint of energy, but a suicide, you know, you may be dealing with depression or anxiety or something caused this individual to get to such a low point in their life that they felt this was the only solution to the problem. That energy probably remains. And did that spirit remain? And like Alex said, influence potentially the other.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this place, it just basically, it's funny. I was just driving along, and I just wanted to. I was out and about just doing some photography. I was testing out a new camera that I had bought, a DSLR, and I'm like, let's see if I can find an abandoned house or farmhouse or whatever, and take some pictures. Blah blah blah. And I was just driving up Tremaine, and I actually drove by this place, and as I'm driving by, I see this this property and this house just sitting way back from the road,
Beckoning you to come in and take photos.
Yeah. Just something about it. I said, okay.
Right.
So I quickly turned around, and I started driving down the driveway, this dirt road towards the farmhouse, and there was a bridge, an old wooden bridge, because there was like a little stream in front of the house.
Right.
And the bridge, I'm like, do I want to drive over that? Doesn't look too safe. So I just parked the car there, and I got out of the car, and I started walking. And I okay, I'm going to go up to the front door and knock on the door and ask them if it's okay if I take pictures of the barns, because I was fascinated with the barns. And I got up to the front door, and I look inside, and it's empty.
Right.
I knocked, and of course nobody answered. It would have been pretty freaky if somebody answered, but yeah. But I had it in my head, I was just wondering if it's okay if I snap some pictures of your barn, whatever, but nobody answered. So I walked around, and I went to the back, and there was like a pantry add-on in the back, and there was a door, and there was a screen door, and then there was a door that was propped open. Do I go in? I'm going in. The heck with it. I'm going in. So I went in, and I went into this house, and all you can hear are the alarms beeping, like the fire alarms.
Oh,
they're beeping because I guess the batteries are like dead, dying. And that's
Right.
usually what happens when, there's no electricity in the house anymore.
Yeah, but eventually the bloody battery dies. I mean, how long?
Exactly.
What are they still going on for?
Exactly. Isn't that weird? That's just
Yeah.
But there was still electricity at the house. That's why, I guess.
Okay.
Because they would put when you drove by this house at night, the porch light would be on. I guess to sort of sway people from don't come close. We're here.
Right. Right.
It's just creepy when you look at this place at night. But anyways, I walked in, nothing, no furniture, nothing. The place was in awesome shape, mint shape, great shape. And a little bit of wear and tear, a little bit of weathering because of leaking and paint peeling or whatever. It was starting to show damage inside, which was a shame because this place was absolutely gorgeous. If you had the money, if I had the money, I would buy the place and renovate it.
Wow.
Beautiful inside, double adjacent staircases. One would go down to the front door and the other one would go down to the kitchen.
Wow. Yes.
From the upstairs. Yeah. Beautiful. Anyhow, I walked up the front stairwell, went up to the top floor, and I started walking around. I'm snapping some shots, just taking some shots. And all of a sudden I hear something in the attic. Something very heavy moving.
You're like a big old raccoon.
Probably, but it definitely sensed me because it moved whenever I moved, when it could hear me walking on the wood floor, like on
it was a pukwudgie.
Yeah, pukwudgie, yeah. And
go ahead, take me there.
Yeah, so I'm walking and I'm going, okay, so where's the attic door here? I want to make sure that the door is still closed.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm looking around and I find this door, and sure enough, it was closed. And I'm thinking to myself, whatever's up there is just behind that thin plank of wood. But yeah, it's and from that I did a little bit more research. Went back a few times. I was granted permission because I found a contact. There was I guess the guy across the road, another farmer who was taking care of the house and the fields. Like he'd plow the fields in the
well, it's nice that you actually thought to ask for permission.
well, yeah, I mean, you never know, right? Something like that, you just you never know. You just don't want to be caught doing something stupid, sort of thing. But and I highly recommend you do that. You just I mean, so anyways, he was pretty cool. That he was fine, going in a few times and ran some investigations in there, collected some findings and so on and so on. And yeah, very, very interesting place, very intriguing place. I mean, Alex, at one point he came in and he had kind of felt a little uneasy in one area at a time. Little tingly, yeah.
So why do you think? Do you feel like maybe there was still somebody attached to the land? Or the two suicides? I mean, did you get a sense of being watched at all? Or abandoned places always make us feel
uneasy, very uneasy.
It doesn't mean there's something there, but I think it's our natural, feeling.
That was the first feeling when you had walked into this place or walked up to it, and then you're going into the house. You just get this overwhelming feeling of uneasiness, just
right.
Okay, something's wrong here. And it's obviously not, because of the police or anything. I mean, the police could still show up and you still got to explain to them what you're doing in the house.
Right.
But that's not the issue. The issue is
an asylum once.
Yeah. You never know. What you're going to encounter, because I mean that the house is open. You don't know if there's there. Exactly. You don't
derelicts,
know
anything.
You don't know if anyone's squatting in there. You don't know if
there's
any animals in there. And thankfully, no, there was never any issues with that. But kept getting this yes, Tamara, exactly. The funerals were often in the front parlor rooms of these houses.
I know, because I used to have a
Yeah.
huge funeral collection,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have some of the pieces, all the curtains and the racks that would be for home funerals.
Yeah.
1854 coffin, all that. I
Mhm.
still have all that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And getting the findings from this particular location was just simply just eerie to the fact that getting a voice in one area saying "get out," and the way it sounded, it sounded like an elderly woman, a
Yeah.
scorned elderly woman saying "get out," and
So
then
you investigated it then, and you
oh
got
yeah,
for sure.
fully
Oh,
investigated. Yeah, several
beautiful.
times.
Okay.
Fully investigated
Okay.
several times.
Okay.
In one particular time, I was walking down the front stairs, and in the audio, you can hear Steve. Somebody saying my name, and I'm
Don't you hate that when
oh,
they
yeah,
name you? It
yeah.
feels very personal.
It's wait. I know. Wait. I don't know your name. What's you know my name? Why don't I know your name?
Yeah,
Like tell me
right,
what's your name? And of course they never answer you. But yeah, it was just
right.
really really eerie.
It feels so personal when
Very.
they name you personally because you know
Mhm.
they're following you.
Yeah.
Like they're watching what you're doing. They're
Mhm.
watching your interaction, with whoever is there with you
Mm.
because otherwise it's not like you go around there calling yourself by your name. So how would they know?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
People don't think of
Exactly.
things like that. They really don't.
Might have been the
So
big name tag on this back that gave it away.
Yeah.
my name, hello. My name is Steve.
My name is Steve.
My
Just
name is
call
Uh,
my
Steve.
name.
yeah. Say my name. Say my name.
That's
Say my
right.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, say that a few times. So
Yeah.
it's happened to me many times in my life.
Mhm.
And it does, not a lot unnerves me, but there's something that's about being called out. It's happened to me so many times, and sometimes when you least expect it. Like when I was in Romania, same said villa actually. Um, Melissa and I were bunking in one room, and we had a couple of other friends in another area of the building. And it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, some ungodly hour anyway. So I don't do it well. So I'm sleeping, and right in my ear, there's a male voice, and it goes really loud in my ear. It's like that. So my instinct is fight or flight, and I'm going to fight, especially at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Hauling me from his bed. But I turned around because I thought it was Melissa. And now
Mhm.
Melissa sleeps like she would sleep through a freaking freight train coming through the room. So I don't know why my instinct was Melissa. I should have went, we know it's not Melissa. And I look, she's like dead to the world, like literally pardon the pun, but she's out cold. And I'm sitting here just like looking around. It's 7 a.m. It's like spooky gnome, maybe, but it's just like,
Wha-
you know, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's I,
Yeah.
I don't know. And like I said, I've been watching a lot of explore like a lot of exploring and there's one in particular Gareth there who's an urban explorer in Wales
Right.
who does a lot of stuff in abandoned mines and stuff like that. But
Ooh.
I've been watching a lot of old farmhouses and some especially over there in the UK, some of them are just like fully loaded still. They've been left and all their belongings are still there. The pictures are still there.
So
Uh,
why? Yeah.
and to me, it's fascinating to think that what happened? Why? Like I do, I understand people just die, but nobody comes to collect this stuff. No family
No,
members, no nothing.
but it depends. Some people go very mysteriously. Do
Yeah.
you, do you do you know that I believe it was the Dodge family who
Mhm.
had a summer home on Manitoulin Island, believe it
Yeah.
or not. And it was a cabin and they had a grand piano there. I mean, everything. This is a cabin.
Yeah.
It was not like a big location by any means. And one day, now this is a story of the folklore that was told to me, because I used to, I grew up north, so I used to go there quite a bit, right? It was a beautiful island. And I had friends who lived on the island. And this was part of the old story. And then one day they literally just disappeared. And for forever, until the cabin fell down.
Yeah.
Literally nothing was taken from inside of it. So it's like what you're saying, like, doesn't anybody come to collect this? This isn't just like a forgotten about family history.
Yeah.
This family was part of the Dodge family.
Yeah.
Dodge motor cars, like, with really expensive stuff in there. And nobody knows whatever happened to this family. It's like there was still food on the table.
You got to wonder what actually happened to the family, how they disappeared.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what intrigues me about these places. The stories. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, I've seen some of these houses that you know, you think you've seen it all until you've seen some of these places in the middle of nowhere left as is, and you sit there and go, what kind of condition were these people in? You know, like psychologically, you know, it just didn't. I just don't understand, and I think that's what it is. It's
that
like,
wasn't me just saying. I don't know about that. Joke. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. To be in that sort of a situation to where to the point where you either have no family or nobody cares enough to come back and retrieve some of your items. The Dodge family, this was, again, really sad. I say it's aliens. And I say that because I'm gonna add a little bit more to since we're talking about this. You're familiar with the Sault Ste. Marie area?
Yeah.
Okay. As you go up there, there's a town called Wawa. In between Wawa and Sault Ste. Marie, because Wawa's way up at the top, and there's this crazy highway that goes way up there. I've done that highway at the most obscure time of the morning, you know, and come down to like two moose on the road just staring at me. And I'm in a 300 ZX thinking, Mommy, they're stopping, they're staring at the car. 20 minutes. I had to turn off everything and just sit there and hope that this big bull doesn't take me off the road. Anyway, I know someone who used to drive truck, and he came up to this diner. And I'm almost thinking I know this diner because I've been in this area before, like a few times. And he came in, it's probably just before midnight, and he walks in, all the lights are on because it's like a trucker diner. People just go, they eat. There's food on the grill, you can smell it. There's music playing, like the jukebox is going, food on all these tables, nobody to be found.
Yeah.
Cars in the parking lot. He ended up calling the police and saying, look it, you know, like he's like, I'm getting out of Dodge for real. Like he goes, I'm not sticking around to see what the problem is. Like he walked around the property a little bit on the front, and he, you know, trying to look for a sign of life. There was nobody. And he just said, you need to come out here because there's food on the grill. You know, I don't want to see this place go up in smoke. Like, you know, you got to fire grills at the back. Right. And, that was it. And he just took off. Where the heck did everybody go? There's still food on cooking in the back.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like,
it's
aliens.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well,
Call me crazy, but
you never know. Anything is possible. Anything's
maybe
possible.
they shifted to a different reality.
Yeah.
Why hell? Yes, maybe. Why not? Time slip. Why not?
You know, anything's possible. Anything, and that's what intrigues me the most. Trying to understand something that just doesn't make sense.
Sure, I agree with this. You know, I think sometimes families can't face going through a lost family member, or sometimes they were the last family member. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, if they passed, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and then you get those other ones that are on the flip side, just get rid of everything the next week.
Bring
You know?
bring in the dumpster.
I know. I know, it's terrible. I am extremely fascinated though by a lot of these disappearances. I know Joe and I did a show on the Gray Zone one time, and we talked about time slips and portals, and there were stories of people walking out of their house. When I researched this, I couldn't believe it. People walking out of their homes, walking around the house to the backyard, and they're in a different time. Like same space, but completely different time. Like things outside looked different.
Yeah.
They couldn't see, you know, like this individual had children playing in the back. There was nothing. There's nobody, different time. Neighbors were different. Houses looked different. And they walked back around and came right back into their own time.
Yeah, it's strange. Like I said,
That never happens to me like that.
I know that's
It's just, it does happen. There's a woman who, right to this day, currently has a reward that she is offered if anybody can get her back to her own time. This is something else that we found for the show, because she just woke up one day, okay, and she was, I don't know how many years ahead, but a different time, different pair of pajamas. Her apartment looked different. She went to work. The building wasn't the same, but she instinctively knew where to go to work. Her fiance of 7 years, non-existent. His family, non-existent. And she's never been able to get back. Nobody knows who he is. This is like, you know, the love of her life, right? Ready to get married. And it was 5 years at the time that I researched this. It had been 5 years, and she has a reward out still as of the date I researched anyway, last year, for anybody that can help her get back to her time.
Let me get my steel toes.
And you see,
Yeah,
that's
it
part of
happens.
the part of the reason why I don't fully agree with the traditional route of thinking with the paranormal, if you will.
I know. Yeah.
You know,
Dimensional bleed through.
yeah, I think.
So where are you? Your
Yeah,
favorite part?
I think there's so many scenarios that we need to take into consideration to truly understand, you know, when you're investigating the paranormal,
Yes.
that it may not be a dead loved one. It may be somebody who look at for all we know, we're dead.
I have had more spirits. I've had at least 2 spirits say that to me.
You know.
And what do you say?
We're-
Okay. That's all I said. Okay.
We're in purgatory waiting to slip through to the
Yes.
real life sort of scenario, if you will. I don't know.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, it could be the bleed through, as you were saying, Michelle.
Yeah.
I mean, if we live in a multiverse, which, you know, it's looking like that's the case.
Yes.
Everybody has an identical in every universe. So if you're in a scenario where there's like cross contamination, for lack of a better term, you may come across someone that you know, but in the other universe.
Yeah.
So that really messes up the whole doppelganger theory, doesn't it? You're gonna die if you see a doppelganger. It's more like a change in timelines.
Well, no, but what I mean, like, let's say, for example, I have, you know, my brother here passes away, just for the sake of the argument, but in the other universe, he hasn't.
Right.
And I get to that sort of cross contamination zone, if you will, and I all of a sudden get an EVP of my brother saying, "Hey, but he's talking to the other me in that universe."
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Got it. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So it seems like it's the ghost or the spirit of my brother that I'm communicating with, when in reality it could be someone from that
version.
you know. Yeah.
So, and this is where they look different slightly, apparently, because a lot of times, and people will say, "Oh no, that's demonic," because their clothes are, sometimes it's that their clothes are too big, or the hair just looks different, or their eyes don't look right, or this is a big theory with a lot of people who
Mhm.
deal in the paranormal, whereas essentially maybe it's just they just look different, just different time altogether.
I had this strange little, like, have you ever had like a strange incident that it's didn't make sense? It made
All
sense,
the
but it
time.
didn't make sense. But I
It's
mean,
my life.
I remember
Yeah.
one time I was walking up to work and years ago, and I was on this it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
and because I had to start at 4 in the morning, I don't know, whatever. And I'm walking up this sidewalk, and the road is hardly used, obviously, that time of the morning. And there's nobody on the streets. There's the street lights on still, obviously. The sun hasn't cracked open. 3 o'clock in the morning, so
Right.
you get it's dark, and across the street at the time was just a big open field with a few trees, and there was this old cabin, just this old hut cabin sort of thing
Mm.
that I always wondered what it was for. Just why is it still there? Just makes no sense at all. But I'm walking, and all of a sudden I see this person appear in front of me in the distance, walking towards me. And as the person get closer, I could start to see, that he's wearing a long dark black jacket, whatever, and he's got those I forget what they call them. The Jewish Orthodox people use them. Those type of hats, that with a wide brim and the tall middle
Okay,
part.
yes.
Well, I forget what they're called,
I
but
it eludes me as well,
and
yeah.
and he had a beard, and as he got closer, I could see he had a beard, and I couldn't really make out the facial features, but I didn't want to stare. I didn't, you never know what this guy, what's this guy all about, sort of thing. But
Mm.
um just before we were about to cross on the sidewalk, he veers off towards the road, crosses the road, and gets on the other side of the road, and then walks into that hut.
Hmm.
And that was it. And it was just so weird. Okay, there's nothing in that hut. Why is that guy walking in that hut? And I kept watching. I mean, what is the guy going in there to take a piss or something? Like,
Oh.
honestly, I'm like, what is this guy doing? It didn't make any
Right,
sense. So,
right,
but it wasn't an outhouse. It was just a shack. I'm like,
right.
is that guy living in that shack? It just seemed like an odd incident, an odd event. You know,
Yeah,
uh, um,
that's yeah.
a
This is
guy
a
dressed so well like that, and going into that hut that was ready to fall apart, just very weird.
that's it is. So, again, it leads me to wonder, is it maybe an imprint, a
Mm,
replay, a
exactly.
'cause it seems out of character, for one,
Yeah.
you know? I don't know. There's so many theories out there. I tend to lean a lot to it's funny, because with all the television I've done,
Hmm.
people just always expect me to think like I think a certain way.
Hmm.
And it takes me a long time to undo the paranormal television that I've done. But I actually, think quite differently along the lines of much of it.
Hmm.
I do believe in multiverses. I
Hmm.
do
Yeah.
believe, in a lot of interdimensional beings and time slips and all the logical stuff. And because of that, I mean, let's face it, the universe is a pretty crazy place. There are
Oh,
portals everywhere,
absolutely,
vortices
absolutely.
everywhere. There's stargates. There's just, I mean, people can walk into a cave and next thing you know, they come out. I mean, I've had guests on the show say, "Oh no, we came out in this entirely different ecosystem,"
Hmm.
and there were aliens, and I'm just sitting there going, like a portal or something. They're like, "Oh, maybe," but we just walked through a cavern and through this tight little corridor and next thing you know, we're just someplace different. So I'm thinking there's so many different possibilities. Why do you think, and not to mention the fact that we ourselves are a very powerful individual when it comes to psychokinesis, telekinesis, telepath, being telepaths, things like that. Why do you think people lean to the paranormal so much as the solution for what's going on in their lives?
Because that's the easy way out.
Mm.
You think?
Well, I don't
pretty
know if it's the
obscure,
easy way out.
Well, but
Because I
that's-
mean,
So isn't, pardon my French, but isn't religion obscure? And that was used for how long?
Show, man.
I know that, but what I'm saying is how long?
Yeah.
How long was that used for to explain away
Oh,
everything?
100%.
Right?
Conditioning.
It's the easy way out. People
it's
like when we
conditioning.
don't understand something, and I'm not talking about highly educated people here, because they dedicate their lives to learning and researching and experimenting and so on. But to the lay people, it's the best way. We don't have the understanding that someone who's dedicated their entire life to science has. So when we try to, when something happens and we don't understand it, it's got to be paranormal, or it's got to be that, or it's got to be this. It's
Well,
the easy way
technically,
out.
paranormal is unexplainable.
outside the normal.
It's
Yeah.
an obscure,
An umbrella
yeah.
term, right? It
Right.
encompasses so much of everything that you cover on your show and we cover on our show. It
Mhm.
covers ufology, it covers
Yeah.
cryptids, it covers a whole
Right.
slew of different phenomena. It's just when most people hear the word paranormal, the first thing they go to is ghosts and spooks and specters and demons,
Mhm.
right? But I mean, it's
Mhm.
really something that encompasses a whole wide range of things.
Mhm.
Yeah. Still haven't got a special terminology for burritos though.
No,
That's
gotta leave that-
definitely unexplainable in my
Yeah.
world.
yeah.
I don't understand it personally. You know,
We gotta get you out to a burrito place. And,
oh man, no.
yeah, I know.
Really? Okay.
We're gonna team up with Amelia and drag you out there.
I'm adventurous, but I have my limits.
We'll make sure your burrito has a ton of cilantro on it.
Oh.
You lost me there too, man.
Killing me. Yeah, see, there you go.
No.
Maybe if there's alcohol involved.
Yeah.
I want to taste the burrito then. So, oh gosh. Yeah. So I do find that it's easier for people to lean towards something otherworldly than trying to, like in my case, I spent 20 years working, trying to work with people with what goes on up here when they're going through something, trying to teach people, no, you really are in control. And I think you're projecting energy. That's what the shows don't want to hear.
No,
Psychokinesis is no fun, but it's a lot of times it's what it is. Some people would consider that was poltergeist activity, which is a projection of energy, right? And it's easier for somebody to think, no, there's something really malevolent in the house. Well, I mean, I believe in malevolent beings. I believe in malevolent human spirits who are caught for whatever. There's a lot of different reasons why they remain behind. But I also believe that we are pretty, as human beings, we're pretty powerful people when it comes to energy.
Absolutely,
we are energy.
We are.
So why do you think it's so hard for people just to see that in themselves?
Well, humans, are the belief system is about tangibility. It's if it's outside our senses, it does. It doesn't exist.
Right.
We have to see it, we have to smell it, we have to taste it. We have to hear it, all that. Feel it, whatever. And if we can't understand that sort of aspect, then I mean, if we can't get by that sort of filter that's been society has handed down since we were kids, then obviously it's just, it doesn't make sense to them. They just don't care. It's like germs, hundreds of years ago, 100 years ago, whatever, people didn't know about germs. They didn't exist, but they were there.
Right.
I mean, you look at carbon monoxide.
which is a really big thing,
Mm.
in the paranormal as well. People don't even realize it.
Carbon monoxide. You look at
Yeah.
electromagnetic frequency.
Yeah.
And still that is so elusive to many.
And yet so logical.
It's so logical, and I don't
Yeah.
understand why it's not in the same boat as carbon monoxide.
No,
It's not.
I completely agree.
It may not be as lethal as carbon monoxide, but it can be very lethal to some
But
people.
it creates so much
Yeah.
of what would cause people to think there's something going on. Carbon monoxide detectors are always something I carried around when I was investigating, because it to me, it's just as important as an
Yeah.
EMF detector. You
Mhm.
get high levels of each, man, you're going to hallucinate like there's nobody's business.
Yeah.
There is just a lot of common stuff that people don't think about. But I want to just make mention with Wayne, because we have to remember as well that we live in a time where it's pretty much accepted that the unknown exists. Back 30 years ago, you'd have been labeled crazy
Crazy,
if you spoke of such things. Like, tell me about it. The family's secret. Don't let anybody know you can see things. They'll think you're crazy, and they might think the whole family's crazy. We are, but most everything we know came from someone else. Teachers, parents, friends. Our own thought on things aren't even our own.
Exactly. It's
Which goes back to what Alex is saying. It can come back to conditioning.
well,
Right?
that's the
Religion,
thing.
school.
We've been conditioned. We've been all these filters have been put in place.
Mm.
And once you learn how to break free from those filters, once you see differently from those once you get rid of those filters,
Mm.
that's when people start looking at you and saying, yeah, what are you talking about? You're crazy. You're just. And as much as you explain to them how it's not crazy, that
Mm.
it's very logical.
Right.
If you look at it, if you do research, they don't care. They don't want to. It's too much work,
Right.
because they've been living in this cozy confinement for years.
Hmm.
They're happy, content, to go to work and make money. And I mean, look at money. Look at money right now. I mean, it's really non-existent now in many cases. It's just numbers.
Hmm.
How many people actually use, paper money anymore? I'm just saying on a larger
Money.
scale
Yeah.
now, a lot
Yeah.
of it is transaction, is the
Yeah.
digital
No, you're right.
transaction,
Yeah.
right? So I
Right.
mean,
Right.
a lot of things now that were tangible are
Mhm.
becoming invisible, if you will.
Hmm.
It's like a
Right.
reverse sort of scenario. People, and that's frightening people in
Hmm.
itself. That frightens people. Well, I can't see how much money I have. I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I don't
Did
like to spend it unless I know it's there. That's
Yeah,
why I
I
still
mean,
like my
you,
cold hard
you,
cash.
you go to
Yeah.
pay a bill. Did I? Oh my God! Did they receive my payment?
Right.
I mean,
Well, we live
people.
in a digital world.
Yes.
Like Wayne says, take the blue pill. Just
Yeah.
slip back into what you're comfortable with.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we are. I mean,
I know it's a sign of the times. It's just where
mm,
we are, and we go through these cycles. And
yeah.
I imagine, if we go back into the, time of the Great Depression and wars. I mean, the panic that people felt. We still have that sort of panic, but yet we're not in the midst of all of that chaos. We just have chaos in other ways. We will all leave imprints behind. If the world just ended tomorrow, with the imprints that we would leave for the
Mhm.
next generation would be like, oh my God, it would give a whole other
Especially if you've had
world.
a lot of burritos the night before.
Yeah, you may just like spontaneously combust.
It's not just a spiritual imprint.
Yeah, exactly. Good
but
grief.
I
We
mean
have a wide berth.
oh yeah. But I mean
Uh,
the main thing is, no matter what, I mean, we are made up of energy.
Yes.
We essentially, our physical vessel, if you will, probably perishes, but our energy is infinite. Energy is infinite. It just it transfers into something else. What it is, we don't know until that time comes. Obviously,
we're just having a human experience right now, basically.
Exactly. And do we take those experiences with us? Do we take them? You like to hope so.
I think we have memories of it. Energy can imprint.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's what holds everything together. When you're having past life memories or genetic, imprinting sort of thing that comes from somewhere. But it doesn't sit in the physical. The physical disappears after a while.
I mean, us doing this right now is creating an imprint.
Yes.
It's an endless imprint.
Right.
It will loop and loop and loop for forever, because we are creating energy.
Right.
In a sort of manner where it's a matter of patching into it again some other way.
Mm-hmm. Ghost box.
Yeah.
Where's all this talk about burritos? Spontaneous combustion. What is this all about? What is
you don't want to have a ghost box near after having a few burritos.
No. If I could come back to haunt, one of the EVPs I would leave is big fat burrito.
Yeah.
So that's how we know it's you.
That's right.
I see. Okay, code word to all the millions of people listening.
You might want to write that down.
Yeah.
He's saying, look it, open up again.
Mm-hmm.
Please open again. You shouldn't have closed. Open up.
I was so disappointed.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's funny. We were promoting them and they never knew it.
Yeah.
Well, so do you think, and I'm going to ask this only because I've been we've both, Alex, I don't know if you've done television. I know Steve and I have done it, and I think we contribute partially to the cycle, of the confusion, because I really feel a lot of people hang off of what they see, and without realizing that a lot of what you see is ratings. You're not seeing, the real stories. I love the shows like Paranormal Survivor, things like that, only because you have people who are really heartfelt. They get up there and they tell the story, and it's very heartfelt for them. They for them, it's therapeutic to tell the story. I know the people that have asked me, to bring them on the shows, or because they felt like they wanted to give back in hopes that somebody in their situation would hear their story, see a similarity, and not be afraid to speak out or try to get help. Even though, there's a lot of embellishments that take place in any of these TV shows.
Yeah.
Do you think it helps contribute to the problem?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, that was when I was doing, some of the shows that I did. I remember when I really started to think about that particular aspect. I remember a casting agent friend of mine contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do this particular show. And I said, it sounds interesting, but it's certainly something a little different spin on the paranormal. I think this would be pretty interesting in a comedic sort of way, sort of getting back at paranormal TV for embellishing.
Yeah.
But I simply made the statement to them and said, look, I'm not. I'll come on your show, but I'm not going to fake any evidence. I refuse to do that. I won't do that. I won't do that. And the show had nothing to do with faking any evidence, thankfully. But
it's really tough because you're getting into, do you have to fake it?
Yeah.
I think it's reading between the lines in many cases as well. Like I
Mm,
said, out of all the questions I've been asked, out of all the answers I've given, it comes back to one thing everybody wants to hear. No matter what show I did, it's always the same thing. And it's hard to undo all of that
mhm.
because it's such a dramatic thing that it's the first thing that comes to people's head. It's almost like brainwashing. But I have no creative control. I have no control over what ends up on the cutting room floor and what
Yeah.
doesn't. You
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
it has changed. No doubt, it's changed the landscape. Obviously,
Yeah.
when I started out, it was the grassroots approach was still there, still in place. You got your chalk, you got your, just basic tools that you would bring to go and investigate.
Right.
And you didn't have all these. I mean, yeah, certain people had parlor tricks, if you will, but I never used that. But
No.
it was all about reading books and doing research, and now it's the research is watching TV, these TV shows,
Right.
and you have a whole new generation that have grown up with these shows now
Mhm.
and have seen a glimpse of 30-minute to 60-minute glimpse into like a 3, 4, 5, 6 hour investigation or event unfold, that they don't understand that how many edits were put into that, and how
Mhm.
much time has been chopped off, and how much time you're sitting in this location or whatever, and literally doing nothing. You're bored, waiting for
Mm.
something to unfold, and most times never does happen.
Mhm.
And I sit there and I watch some things on not only TV but here on YouTube and
Mhm.
wherever else. These people throwing out their videos of their investigation using all these tools, and you sit there and I had a rant about this the other night, about these tools that aren't even made to look for ghosts, if you will.
I know.
They're,
Hey, I know
they're
somebody who used to use a turkey thermometer
yeah.
to try to text for temperature.
Oh.
Shall remain nameless.
you know, um,
Okay.
I don't think there's a problem bringing these tools into the field, but firsthand know what these things are for.
Right.
Like an EMF meter, for instance, it's not a ghost detector.
No.
It's
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 an
to
EMF
it
detector.
it's for you to take base readings
Yeah.
several times to get us, just a base of what the average reading is in that particular room. If there's a spike, then
Yes.
okay, then maybe there might be an issue, but you have to make sure that that spike isn't caused by something natural or explainable,
Right.
right? But
Right.
people don't care. They got this ghost box. They got the ghost box right next to this EMF detector, and the EMF detector's going off crazy because the ghost box is right there. It's
Just,
feeding its energy to the
it's like
thing, and
going up to the
you know,
electrical panel and yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God, it's lighting up. Okay, quick. Was that you? Can you do it again? And of course, it goes off again. Oh, can you tell us what your name is? And the ghost box, Frank,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
I know. I think, I once had a researcher say some of the best tools that you can use during an investigation is a pencil, a piece of paper, and good old common sense. I thought to myself, yes.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, I think if you know how to use the equipment, for sure. There are some really talented people out there who are really developing some phenomenal things, and I
yeah.
like to see the strides that people are making, and I like to see the creativity, and but again, if it's misused, it really should come with a handbook. And unfortunately, if you're just watching some of these TV shows to get the hang of how to use something that may not be necessarily the best way to learn how to use it.
Absolutely, and that's the problem. A lot of these tools that these people, you know, build and experiment with and get some interesting findings with, they're totally twisted. As soon as somebody else gets their hands on it,
Yeah.
oh, can you make me one of those? They make them one, and then all of a sudden they take it out and it totally misuse it and throw it there. Oh, look at, I got some evidence. I mean, Alex and I have had this Michael Esposito on. I don't know if you've ever had him on your show.
I haven't, no, but the name is familiar.
He's a musician by trade. He's the great grandson of Alex. Who is it? Bell? Not Bell. Marconi.
Right. Okay.
Marconi, and he the experiments that he does are just phenomenal. Like,
No, I'd love to have him on if you guys want to share.
oh, absolutely. Like the stuff
I shared Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff that he has created, like it has created by using everything from a turntable, like a record,
Yeah.
to a oh my god, what else, Alex? He's used so many different tools.
It's the list goes on. So
And the stuff that he has captured using this stuff is just phenomenal. You know,
Wow.
he is amazing. Yeah, I could give you his.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love
super
to. Thank you.
super nice guy.
Yeah.
I've known him for quite a while now. And we even have to have him back on the show. It's been a long time, but
and we're not talking about the hockey player either.
No.
I was going to say, I had affiliations with those guys, but I think Esposito, I think NHL hockey.
But this guy goes all over the place. Like I think he usually goes to, is it Denmark or Sweden, one of the two. And he would go to some very historical places.
Right.
Or places that have been known to have some activity or whatnot. And he will bring like special devices with him and will record with these devices to capture any EVPs possible. And like I said, some of the stuff he's captured, Michelle, will blow your mind away.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
It's always been my favorite part of research has been the audio recordings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Above anything else, because it's just such it's such a curiosity, because it's a wide range of things that you can be, what you can be experiencing. Like I said, time slips. Like I said, look at all of these experiments that he does. I am a fan of the ghost box in the right conditions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't discount it. I don't discount it. But the problem is there's too many people out there that just really don't know how to use it properly. Just like a lot of tools.
Well, that's exactly it. For me, like I said, I've always had pieces built. I knew Frank Sumption.
Yep.
I have one of his boxes here. And what was fascinating to me about him as I was getting to know him, because he was a best friend of one of my best friends. And he said, everybody thinks I built this for ghosts. He goes, I didn't. And he would share all kinds of recordings. He goes, I built them for aliens. I was like, damn. Can you tell you how I felt at that moment? I'm just like, it never crossed my mind. And I don't know why it didn't ever cross my mind. But I had in turn had a really sophisticated one built, and I could fine tune it to the point where it would filter out a lot of the background. Like it didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And, I love using it in places where there's not a lot of FM signals. I remember doing a location with just regular box, and there was like one radio station only, and the spirit loved music. So I would say things like, oh, I said, did you like listening to Old Blue Eyes? I wanted different genres of music because it was,
Mhm,
like I said, one station, middle of nowhere.
mhm,
All of a sudden, Frank Sinatra comes on the box. It says, oh, what about the King? Elvis comes on. Oh, what about those Fab Four? Just tag words. Oh,
mhm,
Beatles came on.
mhm.
Like, what are the chances that you would have all these different genres? I mean, I went from country to rap to blues to you name it. And I would get snippets
Yeah.
of that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
It's interesting.
it is interesting. And you know, but it's amazing how you can capture uh the best kind of sort of scenario where what I enjoy the most is not so much what you expect or what you
Mm,
kind of expect listening to audio or whatever and finding that gem, if you will. What I find even more intriguing is going through some material and being surprised
right,
by something that just whoa, how did I miss that? What? How?
right.
It is like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. This is phenomenal.
How did I
And
miss that the first time? Yeah,
yeah,
right.
um,
Do you think, um, because we evolve as researchers, that when you do go back and look through old, you know, evidence or old recordings and you catch something, it's just, you develop an ear for it or an eye for it?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's really weird because in the beginning when I first started doing this sort of audio aspect of this, it's just play it loud and you'll hear anything. No, God
Yeah,
no,
right,
that's not it at all. You
right.
you really have to have a controlled environment when you're listening to the
Yes.
audio, and especially I mean, most people would say, "Well, I preferred analog over digital," and you
I'm
had that
diehard like that too.
you had that battle for years, and
Yeah,
I do like analog. Don't get me wrong,
I'm saying,
but
yeah.
I do really enjoy digital now because of some of the recorders now that they've come out with
Mm,
are just phenomenal.
yeah.
Just blow me
But do you
away.
not find them sort of, like, tingy compared to
Not at
the
all.
not anymore,
No,
right?
like I'll take what I enjoy using is a Zoom H4
Right,
and bringing that sucker out and it's just phenomenal. It's just
right.
so crystal clear,
Mhm,
crystal clear, and
right.
you don't get that tinniness or tinginess or whatever
Yeah,
you
because
don't
to me,
get
it's
that.
like using a digital camera and a Polaroid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's just like, I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
bonus to that recorder is that if something comes around and attacks you, you can use it as a weapon.
One of those
Uh,
recorders. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I love being able to capture sound. I think it's just extremely fascinating, um, compared to, I mean, not that photographs aren't cool, but I guess, again, it's one of the things you have to be careful for or careful of, pareidolia,
yeah, absolutely.
orbs.
Yeah. Oh, orbs. Oh God. Oh God.
Wanna chime in?
Um, in the mortal words of our good friend Keith Age, I
Yeah.
dare you to say it again.
There's a lot of people and
Mm,
mediums especially, who
mhm,
will look at something and goes, "No, like, there's a spirit energy in there." What do you
mm.
say when you see one with faces? And, like, I get the ones that someone sends you a picture camping, and you're underneath all the trees, and they think they're being invaded, and I'm never going back to this place, and I'm just like, "It's pollen."
You know,
For sure.
I remember years ago, and I keep bringing this up. For some odd reason, I was on YouTube and I was watching this guy, and he was based in Scotland,
Right.
And each night he would set up his old digital high 8 camera in the one bedroom of his house,
Right.
and have it in night vision, and he'd sit there and watch the digital display on the camcorder to see if it would pick up anything. And the minute some orb would fly by, he'd go, "Hey, there's Margaret tonight. Hi, Margaret. How are you this evening? Where's Sal? Is Sal going to be coming here and meeting you this evening?" And then all of a sudden, this other orb would come out of nowhere, and he'd start conversing with these orbs. And I'm like, "Oh my God, you got to be kidding me!"
Yeah,
But
it's a tough call. I mean, again, I think you have to look at environment and, you know,
you know what?
and
If you, I think if you see it with the naked eye, if you see something with the
yeah.
naked eye, then quite possibly. But for the most part, on digital camera, any the digital point and shoot cameras,
Mm, yeah.
not so much on film,
Yeah.
but digital point and shoot, it exploded.
Right.
It exploded, and of course,
What about these security cameras?
security camera, same thing, because you got to
Yeah.
remember these cameras have an infrared light
Yeah.
Mhm.
that these particles pass through, and it picks it up,
Mhm.
right? It will give you that impression.
Mhm.
And because half the time these things are moving so fast, or they're close, or
Mhm.
whatever, it gives you the illusion that they're in fact some faces that might be in it, or whatever,
Oh,
if you
the
slow it down.
pareidolia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same with another phenomena that happened a while ago called rods. Are you familiar with rods?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
This guy, what's his name? Something, is it Esposito? I can't remember. Not Esposito. I can't remember his name. He in the early 2000s, he came out of doing something, I don't know, in Mexico, some cave
I saw that.
diving. Yeah, cave
Yes.
diving, and he was
Yeah.
showing
And these things are just flying around and
flying by, and
yeah. Yeah.
I remember doing some experimentation on with using the same cameras, and getting the same results, and going, wow, I can't believe people are buying into this.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
quite clearly it's insects,
Mhm.
because when you slow it down to a point, you see the insect and its wings.
Well, you're out in nature too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some people have captured some I've seen interesting ones,
Mhm.
where they're, maybe in a location, the night vision catches it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got something this long that
Mhm.
just kind of it's sort of like, wow, it's cool. But it's like, but unfortunately, you can't. It's not. It's really difficult to light up video unless you are frame by frame,
Mhm.
and then you really have to try to catch it
Yeah.
midway. It's just this is again why it's so hard with video photography and why I still prefer audio, period.
Yeah.
I think that's our best chance of getting anything tangible.
I mean, do you remember the old the photo thing, vortex, the photo vortex, the vortex caught on video, on
Oh, no, I
in a
don't think so,
photo,
yeah.
and quite simply, it's just a close up of a hair,
Oh, I
and it
never
gives
saw
you,
that, yeah.
or a cobweb, right, a spider
Right,
web, and
right.
literally when it's so close to the camera's iris,
Right.
it looks like, you got some vortex going on there. No.
Just like
Yes.
that's just
Uh, Chris is mentioning Art Bell. Yeah, well, he was with the the orb thing too. You know,
yeah, yeah.
Orbs, he really exploded with the orb thing. Really exploded with
With art,
Art Bell. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. people
On
are
that
going
note,
nuts.
guys, I have to just say, Shanae, do you have to do the job part
Yep.
of my
Yep.
show? You
Yeah.
guys know the drill,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
we know. Okay, so guys, anybody who is just tuning in, I have to play more promo too. So real quickly, anyone who's just tuning in, you are listening to the Outer Realm Radio. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3, 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing folks at Folgers Coffee. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you and couldn't do it without you. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, who can be found anywhere that you prefer to stream. So, example, Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. I could go on. Also, big thank you, Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our banners and logos here at the show. Specializes in the horror genre, so you can get anything. You like spooky shows, he can do it. You just like good old Hollywood type horror, he can do that too, and he does it very well. So anyway, check him out. Tonight we have Alex Rondini. We have Steve Genier from Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
Hey, hey.
My compadres for the
Hey,
evening,
hey.
minus our bubble unit. She's not here, so we hope she
Yeah.
gets better sooner. So yeah, it's not the same without her. Anyway, couple of promos coming at you guys. You know the drill. Podcast awards are upon us, so here we go.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, UFO Undercover, in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and get out and vote now. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast, in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all of the 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and go out and vote now.
Ta-da! There we go. All right, did my duty. 2 great shows, guys. Check them out. They are part of the network. So we're back. So where the heck were we? Where do we want to go?
Yeah, exactly. Good
I
question.
know.
Good
I
question.
know. We were talking about equipment. We were talking about orbs, rods. What do you guys think about doing? What's really big is working with reflections, water, vapor, to be able to bring forward spirits and being able to capture them. There's some pretty compelling things out there that, I don't know, it kind of makes you wonder if they're onto something, or are we just looking at this pareidolia thing again?
No, I do believe that. I mean, water is a good conductant, right? I mean, it seems to be a no-brainer. And I there's a lot of researchers out there that utilize water-based tools as a sort of filter, if you will, to do even audio work.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do believe that's a very, very important avenue. Just like I do believe, like for instance, infrasound, I think is
Yes.
something that really needs to be looked at a little bit more in depth with trying to figure what's going on. I do believe that in itself holds many of the key answers to the questions that we ask about what we're actually capturing.
Mhm.
You know, in terms of yeah, I drink water. um, in terms of what we're finding and what we're
Mm,
experiencing. So yeah, water
mhm.
is very important.
Yeah. I did an experiment with it one time because a Facebook friend of mine, avidly interested. I've got to see if something. It's a researcher brain in me going, no, 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 no. I have to see if this is a thing. But he used all sorts of reflection methods,
Mhm.
not just vapor, but he would work with different, like just running water in general and working with the sunlight and just brilliant stuff. I mean, he would come out with things that I'd be like, I mean, you could see skin tone on, the spirit.
Mm.
It's just fantastic stuff, but it's
Oh
like,
wow.
I still have to, I'll just do the basic stuff like with the vapor, throw the pot on the kettle, just kind of go from there. And of course, the house was haunted, and we knew what the spirits looked like because we had photos of them.
Mhm,
Right, they're only from like the mid to late 1800s, so
mhm.
there were photos, and I'll tell you, we ended up with a couple that were there were it was really, really close.
Yeah.
But of course we put it out there, to the spirits of the house. Like, okay, look, we're doing this thing. And they were actually pretty accommodating because so many people had filmed at the house and so on. And we're like, okay, if they were coming to film a show, we'd say, all right, this is what the lay of the land is. If you want to partake, feel free. If you don't, that's okay. It doesn't matter. You just know you're going to have strangers in the house, and this is what's going on, and they're going to want to interact with you. So it's same thing if I was testing equipment. I'm saying, okay, this is going to seem a bit unusual, but this is what I'd like to try. And a couple came through, and it was like, these are interesting. I mean, nothing compared to what this guy was doing, but this guy was doing for 20 years. So I mean, but again, it's the creativity to me is super interesting. But I think it paves the way for future generations. So, what would you guys like to see with respect to future generations coming forward and, picking up the torch, so to speak?
You want to go for that, Alex?
Eradicate all the TV shows about the paranormal.
And all the
uh,
paranormal fans are going, "Shut up, Alex." Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
not sorry.
yeah,
No,
um,
they need to go. It's
yeah.
they're doing a disservice.
Mhm,
And the problem, and the only reason why I say they need to go, it's not so much because we all know the majority of the stuff, 99%, 98%, whatever you want to call it, is probably staged for entertainment purposes. The problem is that not enough people are aware
mhm,
that that's exactly what it is.
mhm,
It's entertainment, and they take it to heart,
mhm.
and they go out and assume that they can do like everyone else does without putting in all the effort that needs to be put in.
mhm,
And hey, everything happens. Things happen all the time in the show, so something must be happening here all the time. And they hear some funny like static noise on the recorders, and they think it's an EVP, and they go out and propagate this crap.
mhm,
And that's the unfortunate part. If people were to accept the fact that this is what it is, and a lot of people do, but a good chunk of the people don't, and that's the problem.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah, I agree. I would further it by saying a lot of stuff online as well.
Yeah.
mm,
A lot of media that's placed online and claims of the paranormal and evidence of ghosts and stuff like that, where people take it to
mhm,
heart and believe it. I think people, if they're serious about doing this and serious about furthering um this thing that we call research and investigating the paranormal, if you will, to do the research, to do the legwork, to experiment, find your niche and run with it, and try to further it. Try to further it, especially if you're a handy person. Employ your knowledge of whatever, and put together devices or experiment with things that you figure you think would actually yield some promising results. There are people out there that are like that now, and they go unseen.
That's true.
And it's sad because they're the ones that, people should be watching and looking up to, not these people on the TV shows. I almost said his name, but one of the names, but it's, you just,
We all know who you're talking about.
yeah, it's, you gotta, it's,
use your own research.
Yeah,
Besides that,
your
don't
own
try
research,
not to
yeah.
use someone else's research. See, I think for me with in doing paranormal television, it's always been a way of people finding me, but I don't do
Yeah.
investigative stuff per se. And I have had more people find me and reach out to me that I've been in turn able to assist over the years.
Yeah.
But I don't do that I don't do the research type of it. And I know there's a lot of it. I don't think people realize when you're looking at that 1 hour, there's probably been, 12 to 40 hours of investigating at one location, and you're getting tidbits of something, if that. And if there's nothing, it's very seldom that they're going to say, we got nothing.
Yeah.
You're not going to often see that.
No.
And I think now with social media, there's just a lot of groups, and I commend people for coming together. I always try to tell people, if you want to get into this, take a tour somewhere, go to places that are offering an investigation, public investigations. Go with like-minded people. Maybe you'll find somebody who's got some experience. Maybe they can teach you a few things, or at least explain a few things to you. Just do it as a group. Do it in a safe, confined manner. But don't try to, don't go do what Steve did and just abandon a place.
Yeah, I mean,
I was kidding. I'm just playing with you.
No.
Yeah.
I always say stay away from people who say they're experts, they're professional,
No such thing. Yeah.
they're certified, because I mean, really, it is an unknown realm. We're all students. We'll always be students.
Yeah.
We're always learning, and we'll always learn, and that's the best formulation that I would give to anybody. Look at you'll further things by continuing to learn,
Right.
because you might be an expert in photography, an expert in audio or whatever, but you're not an expert at the paranormal.
No such thing.
There's no such thing. No.
It's
No matter what.
unexplainable. How can you?
Exactly. How can you be an expert of the unknown?
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts when people say evidence too.
Yes.
I like to call it findings, because I mean, I don't want to say, look, I've got proof, or I've got evidence of the paranormal, when I don't know, other than it's a unique finding, and that is all. I mean, send what you have to a person. Let people scrutinize it. Let people study.
Yes.
Let people try to understand it. And if they come back and say, hey, it's probably this, you got to have a thick skin. You got to take the criticism, because I'll tell you right now, if you can't take it, you're in the wrong field.
No, I agree. 100%. I used to actually, for a couple of years, early days, I used to send my EVPs out to a guy in the US who used to have like an EVP school, and he would teach people how to analyze and stuff for free. I said, if you keep doing it for free, I'll send you some of my stuff. Just pick it to bits. Just let your students just pick it apart. And if you find something great, I'd love to hear it. a lot of times I wouldn't even analyze the stuff. I would just do investigations and fire it all off to them and let them do it. So it was being heard for the first time by all kinds of people who didn't know, I mean, didn't go out into the field. Some of these people never even left their homes. This was as close as they could get to something. And I thought, you know what? Good for you. Kudos to you for doing this. And I'm happy to contribute in some way. Because I was never weird about my stuff. Don't hoard your stuff. What for? It's not worth anything, man. Like, I'm going to get $1 million for this. Oh, you're not. It's crap. It's just not going anywhere. It's a dime a dozen. Really,
exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's crap, but it's a dime a dozen.
Go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
I was gonna say, who wants to hear a fake EVP of a guy farting in the background anyway?
Yeah. Oh God. But you know, to give you an example, do you want to hear an example?
Always.
Okay. Well, okay. I'll send it to you. Hold on.
Oh, you can play. You have control over the board.
Oh, okay.
Click in. Even I don't even have to tell you how to use this board. Present. Present.
Okay.
Go to share screen. No.
Okay. Here you go. Here you go.
Okay. EVP time, kids.
I'm scared.
Why is it doing that?
It's your computer.
Oh no.
We're all fine at our end.
What the heck? Okay, I don't think that's the right one. That's why.
Okay.
Hold on here. Hold on.
Okay, because Chris is getting to that point. I was not going to lie. I had too many rum and cokes. I just want to spank somebody. Get in line, Chris. It's that kind of show. Okay.
Here we go. What do you think?
Well, it sounds like there's a whole lot of chatter going on in the back. So what are we actually listening to? The
Okay.
sort of thing. Is this one of Alex's
moment? Okay. So as we're downstairs.
Yeah.
We're downstairs. This is an old farmhouse.
Okay.
And we're downstairs. And I had my camera guy go up to do a walk around to document the upstairs on video. And as he's centering in on that picture, you hear what sounds like a girl reciting a nursery rhyme or singing.
Yes.
Right there with him.
Right.
As we're talking in the background slightly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, you can definitely tell there's this little muffled. There's a lot of background noise, which makes it, you have to really be attentive. But when you isolated it, you can hear this.
You get the melody, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty amazing because it really goes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like it's just the occasional this little word. I love when you can get actual sentences and things like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen often.
I actually ran it through an AI filter, and it eliminated all the background noise, and just extracted that little part.
Right.
And it's phenomenal.
Technology.
I know.
I love it.
It was just really, really crazy.
Right.
Really
Is this the
crazy.
same farmhouse you were talking about or a different farmhouse?
No, a different one. Different one.
Oh,
it's a
so you
different
seem to be
farmhouse.
very lucky with the farmhouses.
Yeah, well, that one in particular, we were working with the park.
I think I know the one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know the one. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, that's a
yeah.
great location. A
Oh
friend
yeah,
of mine knew the family, grew
yeah,
up, like she's friends with the family and
yeah,
literally grew up and, you know, played and
yeah.
hung out there, which is fantastic.
It's an interesting little location. I'll tell you that.
That whole
Yeah.
area is interesting.
Oh yeah, very, very, very
You
interesting.
know, down
Yeah.
that, just the location alone
Mhm.
is
Yep.
just because there's a cemetery not far from there, isn't there?
No, across the highway.
Across, yeah. Oh, oh, okay.
Across the
Okay.
highway.
Right.
There's
Further in.
Yeah, there's a cemetery, and I think 2 of the family members are buried there.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Because it seems very, well, it was once very isolated, if it's the one I'm thinking, across the river.
There might be one across the river. I'm not sure if there's, because you have the
Yeah.
campground and then you have houses in that
Yeah.
there. I'm not sure. Maybe there is.
Yeah,
though.
without giving the area away, which I
Yeah.
don't want to do, but
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
yeah, there's so much in that entire
But I mean,
area.
yeah, it's before, pretty much before that highway was a highway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I think.
I love that.
That's what Alec does. He doesn't have any burritos. That's
That's
why.
what Alex does.
There's no Amelia, no burritos.
That's right. I love it.
So what part of me is being creepy?
I know.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So as we start, coming up towards the top of the hour, what do you have coming up? Where can people find you? You know the drill.
Find us in a cemetery.
Find us
There we
in
go.
a cemetery.
That's a creepy Alex talking.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're live. Well, we're in hiatus until September. Our 16th season starts in September, and
you guys get time off.
Yeah.
we still pump out some stuff through the summer, and
Right.
but not show related. I mean, in terms of having guests on.
Mhm.
Part of the New Visions Radio Network, and of course here on YouTube and Twitch. You can find us primarily here on YouTube now.
Right.
That's where you can find us. You can find us on Facebook, as well as on all the other social medias, pretty much.
And when you do air, what night do you guys?
Sunday nights between 9
Right.
and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
Right.
is our typical. I mean, we do. We a lot of the guests are from Europe, and if that's the case, we will start earlier and
Right.
just replay it on the network. So
Right.
yeah, it's fun. We're looking forward to the new season.
Mm-hmm.
Have a documentary coming up pretty soon in the fall called the Dark Woodlot.
Ooh.
That's going to play out hopefully, if no more kinks are in the pipeline, but hopefully that's going to we have a nocturnal gathering in October
Right.
where we're going to hopefully premiere it.
Right.
So
Very nice.
yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Very nice. Very nice. So in the meantime, you get the summer off essentially for the most part.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a hot one, so
It is a hot one, and
Yeah.
it should be interesting. But yeah, we're looking forward to the new season, and we're just putting the guest list together, the schedule, and
right.
we'll start releasing the shows as we get closer.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys for
Well, thank you.
Oh, a pleasure. We'll do it again, maybe in and around the time as you get ready for the release. You want to come up and hype people up for your event?
Sure, absolutely.
I can be the creepy guy in the background.
Okay. You're the creepy guy. Just up there and
Just looking at my phone, by the way.
It's like the bah humbug. Get rid of those shows.
What dimension are you part of, Alex?
I'm
Come
not
on,
saying
let us all
because,
know what dimension are you part of?
If I say where I'm from, then I'd have to take care of some business.
It wouldn't be the first time.
That's right.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Right. So I mean, I'd rather not say.
That's when he gets his big fat burrito.
Yeah.
All right, burrito boy, that's it. We'll do this again because this time
Absolutely.
make sure Amelia will be a part of it because I know she's
Yeah.
just like I got a few FMLs tonight. It's like, still ahead. My head's got a pulse. I'm done. It's like, oh, okay. So,
and of course, we'll have you guys back on the show as well. We always
love
having
hanging with you
on.
guys. It's a lot of
absolutely.
fun.
So
it's a lot of fun.
We'll have to do a live on location.
Yeah.
A live on location show.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
They can be.
Oh, love them. Love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the first time we met Amelia. Was at a live on location.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
Tons of fun. Yeah.
Well, you know what? You never know.
You never know. You never
say never.
Never say never. No burritos.
No.
Just saying.
Well,
no.
we'll say never.
I'm sure he'll work a catering deal with a burrito place.
Oh yeah, have a burrito party. Wonderful.
Oh,
yeah.
Can't wait.
Now you're talking.
Can't wait.
Catering by Alex's Burritos.
That's right. And the appetizers are quesadillas.
Yeah.
Oh, well, those at least
Quesadillas.
I could do. I don't mind those too much. There's something about burritos, and it's just yeah, I just don't agree with you. So, anyway, guys, thank you very much, and have a great summer.
Yeah, take care. You too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, we have come to the end of another fantastic show. It's always nice when we can share some space with good friends and known Alex and Steve for a really long time, and they're a lot of fun. So hopefully you enjoyed the segment. Thank you, Folgers, for sponsoring tonight's show and every night show. Thank you, Dr. Snick, Justin Snicker. Thank you, Steve McGinnis. Next week, those in chat room, listen up. Wednesday night, Amelia and I are going to have another paranormal chat, but this time we are bringing on a special guest host to join us. And you guys communicate with him and chat pretty regularly. So we're going to be bringing on Wayne Mallows, and he's no stranger to the paranormal. He's had a, haunted manor house for well over a decade, and there's so many experiences I can tell you because I too lived there. Anyway, so check that out on Wednesday night. On Thursday night, we're bringing back Joe Montaldo, and we're going to be touching on some more UFO stuff. And of course, all of this goes all over the place, but there's been a lot of information out there with these new whistleblower stories that are out and about with respects to government having reverse engineering, things like that. It's just a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So he'll be on, and there's always a lot of shenanigans with both of these guys. So you just never know where it's going to go. But I will leave you with this one last promo, and I hope you guys have a really terrific weekend, and we will see you next Wednesday night. So I leave you with this, and I bid you good night.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flip Side in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.